knocking them off 5 at a time. It's such a dope beat. I really don't want to let it go, but we got to. We got to get to business. We have to get to business. Um, what's good with you, man? How you doing, man? Welcome to the Gray Beards Matter Podcast, episode 30. It's a continuation of a dope couple we had. You did, and I'm really tripping because I can't really see what's going on here. It's saying 6 comments, but uh, let me pull this phone out, man, and see if I can pick it up off of this joint because this ain't what it is. Ooh, slow down, champ. Slow down, slow down. Okay. I got my peoples here. Big Neil's in the building. Big Griff is in the building. Happy belated, my good guy. Goody Ghost. What's cracking, baby? Hey, man, y'all know what it is, man. I'm feeling rejuvenized, man. Man, first, I want to say thank y'all for tuning in to Great Bears Matter Podcast, episode 30. Can y'all believe it? I know I can't, man. I'll be really foul or taken aback in my own house if I didn't give my baby girl another congratulations to her and her groom on jumping the broom this past weekend, man. It was an excellent day. Real dope. I mean, family and love was in the air. My sons was there. They handled grown man business. I made my day as well. My oldest came up from North Carolina with the G babies. It was ecstatic, man. Lady Eastwood did her thing. Yeah, it was a dope time, man. And not just because she was my child, but it was just because you can see how happy somebody is. You know what I'm saying? And then the groom, he's my guy, and he's not one of those type men that gonna let you see what's on the inside, but he couldn't hold it. I ain't gonna put him out there. He couldn't hold it. He couldn't hold it. Ain't no doubt about it. He truly enjoyed himself, man, and he let his love be seen too, man. So congratulations to the Carters. They out there doing what they do for sure, man. And it was a great time. Y'all know what's next for sure. Um, Let me see. I had a couple more, man. I had a couple more Fozzie Bears in the building. What's good, baby? Uh, Damn, who else did I have I wanted to holler at, man? I wanted to shout out. Oh, yeah, I'm tripping. Yo, my youngin', my oldest, firstborn. What's good with you, Buck? You know what it is. I know you know. For sure, man. That's my guy. Another calendar. Shit. Congratulations on the business again. I'm super proud of you. Man time, Pops time, Mac time, Young Eastwood time. I'm proud of you, Buck. For sure. Man, Farmer French. I mean, off the porch with this podcast game is in the building. What's good with you? Farmer French is in the building. Yo, man, I don't know why Facebook be tripping with me on this damn monitor about these comments. But I'm gonna do my best to be active with it, and I'm hoping that they allow me to continue on and see what's good. Okay, all right. Well, damn, they had me locked in on DJ, but I can see that for sure. Yo, DJ, episode 30 is on. It is up. We are 9 minutes and 38 minutes into it. Yo, I tell y'all what, man. Let me show you how what humility look like. My young OG is in the building, man, for the first time that I've been aware of. Yo, Slim Wolf was good with you, baby. When we cross some straight lines on a Thursday with my guy, I don't know. He must be watching and riding because he always on that scoop, man. What's good, brother? How them babies? Man, I'm happy belated. I ain't seen you since then, but I know what's coming up for us. I'm gonna see you real soon. Welcome to the Great Bears Matter Podcast, good brother. We gonna get it in, man. So again, man, without further ado, episode 30. Welcome back to the Gray Bears Matter podcast. This is the Mature Authority. I know what's going down. Last week we had episode 29. And if you were here with us, you know that really wasn't an easy conversation. Right? Not just for us as the viewers, but for our guests, right? Angela. She was the true testament of what courage looks like, right? Though it was audible, that was my choice. And because we're here, say this again, because I think sometimes folk don't believe or underestimate how serious I am about this being a safe space. I don't care who you are. You can go from Lady Eastwood to my grandbaby. If you come on this joint and you say something foul to somebody that we're interviewing, and or you try to put somebody in a messed up space, that's a wrap. And I don't particularly care how you take it. If you make a comment in the comment section going against what Gray Bears Matters is doing, it's a wrap. I don't care who you are. Over there, this is a safe space. If I bring somebody on and they present to you who they are, cool. It's still a safe space. It's my crib. It's mine. I'm responsible for whoever comes on here functioning, dig? If I choose to make them an alias, I don't give a damn if you think you know who it is or not. It ain't your business to say. Block. Holler at me. I'm serious. Not playing about it. Don't care who you are. At all. And that is about as politically correct as I can be on it. But over there, I'm dead serious. All right, back to business. As I was saying last week, we had an opportunity, man, to let Angela tell her story, and it was heartfelt. Hence the purple in the background. Purple is for domestic violence. That's what's up. But I'm wearing this green shirt for my girl Elmac. If you've been rocking with us in the Survivor Series, you know what the green stands for. Green is for mental health awareness. And Elmac, you know what it is with us. I got you. Tighten up. But anyway, man, we had an opportunity to hear from a survivor last week, man, on domestic abuse, right? It wasn't the statistics. It wasn't anything that we pulled off of social media. And it wasn't any hype with it, right? And you already know it's not my way, it's my opinion. And we don't do it for the stats. So somebody else's story is just that, man. It's authentic. And that's how we try to keep it, right? And the real person shared her experience. But as I reviewed the episode, and then I reviewed it again, and I reviewed it again, because even though that's not my first time hearing parts of that testimony, in as in depth as it was still a lot left off, right? She and I spoke post of it, post production, and she let me know that wasn't it, Clip. And I'm like, damn. So what are the things that we didn't get into? And I got some notes over here, so y'all got to bear with me. What are the questions that the conversations created? Right, and I got a lot of comments, a lot of conversations from the good people that rock with your boy, that happen to hear the show, right? That happen to go back and see the show, and it was really one of those shows, man, that was unexpected, because obviously it's not scripted, and on the YouTube and the Spotify, I really got the most views, man, and I ain't really pumping on that joint too much, but the story was told, man, and it was heard. And I don't know which one was more important, right? It was told, and I think it benefited Angela quite a bit. And then for it to be heard, you can't help but think, damn, was a story that impactful that people wanted to tune in, or was she telling a story that hasn't been told by somebody else? I don't know for sure. I'm not pressed on that part, trying to figure out what that is. But it was a dope time, man, and it created a lot of thought and a lot of questions just based off of that. We're gonna get into some of that tonight. I ain't even gonna hold you down. We can rap, man. Please chime in. What's good, Griffley Adams, man? Happy birthday, man. Happy belated. You know what I'm saying? Y'all Leos is in the building. And also, I missed last week that it was brought up, right, by somebody in episode 28, I believe it was, and they talked about resources. And if you look into the description of tonight's episode, what I didn't do last week, I provided tonight, right? And it's not it's resources within the DMV area, Virginia, Washington, and Maryland, and it allows you to have the resources for people who are experiencing domestic violence. If it is in the act, dial 911, right? Excuse me. I'm going to try to post that again, probably mid show, and we're gonna get it in. There were some things I learned sitting on this side of the microphone, right, that I didn't fully understand until I went back and listened to the show. So tonight is not episode 29, part two. We're not here to retell Angela's story. All right, you can go check that out. Episode 29 belonged to her. That's hers. Tonight is about what do we do with what we heard? What did we learn? And what did we miss? Or what do we miss? Right? And that's an important part because a lot of things, a lot of indicators, man, that come and go that folks just don't notice, self included, man. And I don't know if it's because I personally don't, get down with the DV shit stuff, excuse me, mama, or is that I just wasn't cognizant of all the indicators that come along with it, right? And I'm not sitting here going to try to make it seem like I'm a subject matter expert because I did a little research or I took some notes or I heard a testimony. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is that if you haven't gone through it, there'll be indicators that you need I'm sure you're gonna miss. And I'm telling you that again, it's not anything that's sex based. It's not anything that's culturally based. It's not anything that's age based. Um, Men get abused, women get abused, kids, youngins, right? Um, it's not a black or white or Indian, Hispanic or Indian thing. It's not. And you can be the same sex orientation. And sometimes those are the worst cases according to research, right? But it's cool. We're going to reflect. We're going to try to fill in some gaps. We're going to give some resources. Like I said, if you go back to the description of tonight's episode, those resources for those locally are in there, right? And if you're not in the DMV area, 911 is your friend. So over there, let me say this right. A lot of times people feel that if I call 911, that ain't right. Well, I'm gonna say this for the majority of cases, right? So I already told you not all cases are men and women, but in the case of a man in this scenario, if a dude is beating a woman behind, right? Um, you saving yourself is not snitching. I don't. 911 is can save both of y'all lives, right? Because I have daughters, I have sisters, I have nieces, I have homegirls, and they know that if they get into a situation, God forbid that, um, yo, are we tripping, Samsung? Man, we are tripping. Um, God forbid that, and I can't get there first. They know what's up. You know what I mean? So, um, absolutely, somebody can benefit and save themselves and somebody else by dialing 911 um, and making that happen, right? So uh, that's what it is with that, right? Y'all gonna have to. I got a technical difficulty. I don't know why my big monitor just shut down, but we can have that. Let me see here. Ease that joint. All right, man. I'm not even gonna let it fade. We gonna do what we usually do prior to the big monitor, right? So, no pressure. We able. Uh, what happens when somebody is watching or listening and recognizes a piece of their own life in somebody else's story? That took a lot of took place quite a bit. You know what? I ain't tripping. Come on, Eastwood. Use your brain, Buck. All right. I mean, we faking it till we make it right now. Because that has never happened before. But anyway, we're not tripping on that, man. So what happens when somebody else's it's in somebody else's story affects them? That's why tonight is called The Truth Behind 29. Uh, this thing is really tripping. Pardon me, y'all. This is why I need me a moderator. Anyway, so we're going to reflect. We're going to try to fill in some gaps. We're going to try to tap into the resources by providing them to the viewers, and we're going to talk about the Survivor Series. Got next, right? So the domestic violence, you are not alone. Period. I need you to understand that, right? The national hotline for domestic violence is 1-800-799-SAFE. That's SAFE, right? Or you can text START to 88788. If you're in the Charles County, Southern Maryland area, it is 301-645-3336. Charles County, Southern Maryland again. Center for Abused Persons. The 24/7 crisis hotline is 301-645-3336. Washington, D.C., 24/7 as well. The D.C. Victim Hotline. Or you can text 844-4-HELP-DC. 844-443-5732. Virginia, statewide hotline, 1-800-838-8238. Or you can text 804-793-9999. And again, if it's an immediate life-threatening situation, dial 911, right? Some things just don't make no sense. For you to try to put yourself in harm's way or critical based off what you think somebody else is going to do, right? Or won't do. Because 9 times out of 10, I would hope that somebody would have the cognizance to know that that's not the situation that they want to be in, right? So whatever got that person to that time or to that place, they have to understand that, hey, yo, this is what isn't what I expected to happen. So why would you assume that it's not going to get no worse, right? Um, so if you know somebody's going through, you suspect somebody's going through, please feel free to copy and paste those resources and pass that on to them. Okay, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I apologize for the technical difficulty with what's going on with my monitor. I am not quite sure what it is. I don't know why she went out. But we're not gonna trip. It's not gonna stop nothing because that's what we do. We showing up and we showing out, man. It's all about the message, the content, and the visual aids, man. Secondary, right? So what stayed with me on that episode? So after episode 29, like I said, I went back and listened to it, man, 3, 4, 5 times, right? My sister happened to be here, Lady Eastwood happened to be here, and those were just a couple, right? So when I talked to Angela, she said some people on her side that had listened to it and made their comments as well, right? Some people went really close in her circle. And she went back and listened to herself and was like, dang, okay. And she was inclined to tell me that, yo, Clip, there's more. I could dig it. I understand that. And I'm sure there was. Um, Like I said, I've gotten phone calls, I've gotten messages, I've talked to people who watch it. And for one thing, I realized that different people see things differently, right? Angela's story affected people differently, and that's cool. And then it gets back to you wondering, damn, are you going through it too? Or do you know somebody's going through it or has gone through it? Or was it information just enough to make you aware, cognizant of what may happen or could happen to those around you? Or somebody that you have come across, co-worker, peer, somebody you've seen in the store, you know, um, you never can tell. And that's why the abusers or what the abusers depend on, right? They count on you not being able to be in their business or of the destruction that they're trying to do, whether it be mental, physical, emotional. Those are all just 3 of the types of abuses that we've already talked about, right? But for me, sitting on the other side of the microphone, one of my biggest things I took away from the conversation was understanding when to talk and when to shut up, right? So I'm the host, cool, no problem. But it was her story, and her story needed to be told. And I had to understand that even though that's my people, and even though uh, I had already tried to coach myself up to not get in my own way and let her tell her story, it was difficult, right? There were moments during the interview that Angela would pause, and I would naturally want to jump in to help her out, right? But that wasn't what was needed. And for me personally, um, I wanted to protect her, right? That's what I am. That's what I do. Um, and those who know me, right, noticed that I was a struggle. Some mentioned it during the show. Some mentioned it. Well, the majority mentioned it after the show. Yo, what's good, yay? What's good, Godfather? Appreciate y'all turning in, man. Big brother Neo, what's good with you? Glad you being safe out there, good brother. Um, and with that, right, what I learned from other podcasters that do stuff that I don't like, I try not to do. Right, I could have pushed harder. But for what though? I mean, what was the point of trying to get to a part of her story that I wasn't even aware of? So I wasn't going to do that. In her pauses, I could have asked another question, right? But I wasn't tripping. I wasn't pressed for the time. I went on the clock, right? So talk to me. And most importantly, I had to let her know that I'm just the host, but this is her story. My responsibility wasn't getting more dramatic answers, right? My responsibility was to let her do her thing, be comfortable, be in a safe space like I promised her I would, and learn something, right? Right, wrong, or different from her experience. It was impossible if you heard it to not know, right? So I had somebody that I rock with, man. I shared a little clip of the joint, and I'm not quite sure, bro. Just sees so much bull on the internet, right? That he wasn't aware of the content of the short story, or he didn't listen to it. Let me turn this on around and give y'all some light. Or he didn't listen to it, and was just rocking with his man because he's a solid cat. But the clip wasn't a laughing type of clip, right? It was a heartfelt tug on your core where a laughing emoji was inappropriate, right? So, of course one thing led to another. Never happened again. And it's cool. But it kind of goes to society, man, and how sometimes we can miss the stories and the plight of others because we get so caught up in what's going on that we don't take the time to notice the obvious, right? And then when we do that, right, how many times are we missing somebody's cry for help? That's my question, right? So a lot of times people was asking, well, why ain't she leave? Well, we're gonna get to that. She told me that she could see that afterwards there were moments when my homegirl said, she said, I could see you was trying to protect her. And she was right. Damn, she was right, right? Because even a good brother I don't have a whole bunch of time with seeing the struggle because if you really give a damn about what you're talking about, and you give a damn about being trying to be an asset or a resource or outlet even to somebody, when you hear things, right, and you trying to put it together and process what it is this person is sharing with you from a space of vulnerability, the type of man that I am, the type of men that I hang around, it's it's imperative that we take that serious, right? So I'll be damned if that was going to be any other way. So here we are. We're gonna take a station break right quick for calls, man. Before we get on to section two, Tracy Hamlet, what's good with you? Anya Atkinson, blast from the past, man. You still on the social media space? What's good? Yay, yay. Godfather, Brooklyn's finest is in the building. Neo, where you at these days? Rolls, what's good with you? Weed, Texas is in the building. Let me see something right quick, good people, while we on this station break, man. I tell you, I charge y'all to go back up, man, and for sure try to, download and share that information about the resources for the people that need it, man. And I'm not quite sure what's going on there, man. I really, really, really want my stuff back, but I can't really afford to go to my phone because that's where I'm getting my information from on this side, right? But anyway, man, what did I get from the feedback from the story from episode 29? It was hard to listen to, right? Um, People understood exactly what Angela meant. And then she said, one of my good people say it was needed. Like, damn. How many other times do we talk about things and the effect is, yo, I needed that, homie. I needed to hear that. I needed to process what it is somebody else is going through. To be appreciative, one, that I don't have to go through it, or two, make me aware of what I need to be aware of, especially as a woman, but not only women, right? I don't know if I'll ever have the opportunity because of the stigma that we have with our genders. But I would love for a man or a male who has gone through it to tell their story, right? I don't foresee it, but I would welcome that opportunity to have a conversation with the man who's been in a domestic violence situation to hear his story from his view, from a man's point of view, right? I'm pretty sure that it would shock a lot of people because it's very rare. Just statistics tell us that it's 3 to 1. You don't believe me? Go back to episode 28. What I can say is we weren't looking for the drama. We weren't trying to create reactions. We weren't trying to do any of that stuff, right? Not That's not what we do. We don't do it for the clicks, right? We're trying to have a real conversation with the real person who had a real experience and help provide some real benefits. So that's what I mean when I those type of things there. When I say that we are the mature authority, that's what I'm talking about, right? Not because we know everything, we never will be. Not because we're right, it's not our way, just our opinion. And but because we're willing to have conversations that require some maturity, right? And that was one of those times. And when we have those type of conversations, I can appreciate that because that's what the whole point of us even coming out here, jumping off the porch, doing what we do is. And episode 29 required that type of maturity, talking about talking about that particular subject. Ah man. So one of the questions that kept coming up, um, why didn't you just leave? Everybody brag, but let's talk about it. That question more than anything else, through all her experiences, through all her situations that she happened to share, and which we found out was limited in nature because there was so much more. Um, One was, again, why didn't you just leave, Clip? And I understood why people ask that question because it was a question that I had. Like, reflecting back, she said she had been with that man 20 years. In the beginning, homeboy, and I say that very loosely. You know what? Strike that. In the beginning, she said, dude put her hands on her early after her father passed away. That's a sucker move for me. Um, why would you take the opportunity to put your hands on a man's daughter when he's deceased? Because according to Angela, she didn't experience that before he passed away. I'm here to tell you, in my circle, if there's ever a notion that any coward sucker as dude think that that's gonna happen, and if mine didn't have the sense or the courage to get away, then wait until I pass is probably the smartest thing he could ever do. Um, if I was to find out, right? And I say that vehemently without any regard of a consequence behind it. Mine, no, right? And I understand already that every relationship isn't perfect. You ain't got to agree every day. You're going to fall in love, you're going to fall out of love, and that's cool. You ain't got to agree on everything. And my girl's spoiled. I get it. But, bruh, that's the extent of it. And she better not put her hands on you. But why didn't you leave, Angela? That's the question. And again, I understand why people ask that question. But when you're standing outside of an abusive relationship, and you're looking in, leaving can seem to be the obvious answer, right? Somebody's hurting you. Leave. Somebody's disrespecting you. Leave. Somebody put their hands on you. Get the hell out of there. Bounce. Skirt. From the outside. That sounds simple. But after listening to Angela, and after thinking more and more about the conversation, I think we're asking the wrong question. Well, what do you mean, Eastwood? I'm glad you asked. Instead of asking Angela, why didn't she leave? Maybe we need to start asking, what made leaving so difficult? Like what made it so hard to do? Because those are two totally different questions. One sounds like judgment, right? Like you got the answers all figured out. That's not true because you're not in there. But the other requires us to try to understand something. Requires us to put a little process and a little thought, take away the judgment, take away the reason why you think that everybody's strong enough because it sounds like it's the right thing to do. Right? Common sense sounds good in theory, right? Until you have to apply that stuff. Not always accurate, man. What can make leaving difficult? And I don't want to answer this specifically for Angela, but she told us her story, right? When we look at abusive relationships, there could be a lot of standing between somebody. There can be a lot standing between somebody and that front door. It could be fear of what happens if that person finds you. Think about that, right? There can be children involved. And when the children are involved, you can't just think about yourself, right? One would try to rationale the thought of well, you're saving the child from that situation too. But we already discussed that sometimes if people get enraged, you take that person's child, they're not looking at you as you're thinking logically and you're doing what's best for the child. You're taking from them, so then that rage is amplified, and the abuse that you're trying to run from becomes that much greater, right? So then, at what extent does the domestic violence simmer down? Because it can't be from a logical thought process, being that we're logical people. It can't be what's the word we're looking for? It can't be underestimated, right? And once you're getting abused, your senses go up. Self-preservation, whatever that may be, goes up. Sometimes, unfortunately, self-preservation might be not doing anything, letting that person get off what they're trying to get off because they think that's proving a point. And they think that the abuser might feel that if they let that person get whatever they're getting off to prove a point, that they may feel empowered. And then they feel the person getting abused is being submissive, and that's all they want to begin with. Well, that's crazy, right? That's unfortunate. That's what it is. There can be money. People might not have a resource. People might be financially stricken on purpose, just to prevent them from having options. So that back door never opens up, allowing them to escape. Because if you think that a person going through domestic abuse in the home of the abuser is not being held against their will, you are sadly mistaken. And again, not my way, just my opinion. So what do you do with somebody? So what's to make us think that somebody who's abusing somebody isn't communicating threats? It goes along with it. Like, I wish you would tell somebody that I'm in here beating your ass. Beat your ass even worse. Right? Threats, emotional, mental, physical abuse. Compound that. And then ask yourself again, is us asking, well, why didn't you just leave the right question? If obviously they didn't, then you insert that question, well, what made it so difficult to leave? These are the things we're talking about now. And then they get all that confused with the misperception, the misnotion that, oh, that's just love. The question, can you love somebody who is hurting you? Huh? Are you so caught up with what that person presented to be themselves to be or what they used to be that you can't see what's going on in the present? I get it. I get it. You know, you remember the good old days, right? Or you believe that they just going through something, so you try to placate the situation and think, they're gonna change. Or they talk that talk and they be like, hey, man, I was tripping, baby. It never happened again. I know I said that before, but I'm serious this time. And they fall forward because it sounds so much sincere. They sound so sincere in what they're telling that person. And that person wants that to be so true that they fall for because they don't want to go through it no more. They just don't have the resolve to get up out of there. They can't see the back door anymore, right? Because maybe fear or maybe that our eyes are swollen or they so damaged that it's all blurry. Because according to us, they can't be thinking logically, right? So now we go back to the question, what made it so difficult to leave? And everybody says, shit, bro, I'd have been gone. Not me. Huh? Not Farmer French. It's good, Kelly girl. Not DJ. Not MD. Not me. You got me beeped up. Okay, maybe. Maybe. But it's easy to know exactly what you would have done in that situation if you never had to survive it. And I'm not asking nobody now if you've gone through it. That's not the point. We just having a dialogue about what somebody else went through, what we learned from it, what our takeaways were, how we can benefit, how we can pass the information on to somebody else and let them be benefit, let them benefit from what somebody else has gone through. That's the whole point of it all, right? Again, we're not doing it for clicks. I appreciate Angela having the courage to come in and tell her story. I had no idea what the story was going to be. It wasn't scripted. She said, hey, let me know what's going on with it. I said, all right, bet. I'm going to give you a couple questions. Then I'm going to ask you who you are. Then I'm going to let you talk your talk. So the same story that those who supported the channel that night, or those who went back to YouTube, or those who went back to Spotify, or those who went back to the Facebook page and heard it again on their own time, we heard it in real time too. Damn, was all you could say. But then, right? Again, they say, well, why ain't you leave? We got to be careful. We got to be careful how you respond. But see, sometimes people go so unempathetic. They mess around and say some stuff like, "It's your fault that you stayed." What? It's your fault that you stayed is a crazy reply to somebody coming to you sharing that they're in a distressful situation. They asking you for help and you try to kick them down even more. You a sucker too. You just as bad as the abuser because that person that was crying for help came to you and then you automatically judge them. Right? You're not the person that they should have gone to. You're not the person they thought you were. So prior to you getting on your high horse or coming up with a solution of what they should have done, ask yourself, all right, before you ask them, what was so difficult for you to leave? What made it hard for you not to take so long to get to this point? Why didn't you come to me earlier? Yeah, all right. Everybody's super tough until then. When we ask them, why didn't you leave? Right. When the question should be, when they come to us as a resource, is what do you need? Right? How can I help you out? Are you safe right now? What kind of support are you looking for? What do I need to do to help you find yourself in a better position? Right? If somebody comes to Clip Eastwood, especially now, I have the answers. If you go back, we have numbers that we can call in certain areas around here, right? But one number that is national, and you find yourself in that situation, as I stated earlier, 911 if you ain't got to handle it yourself, or if you can't handle it yourself, excuse me, but it's got to be handled. And 911 may prevent you and him from the ultimate. You dig what I'm saying? And you just got to be glad that they finally found it within themselves to try to find safety. And it's going to be a difficult conversation. But sometimes the conversation needs to be limited, like we stated earlier, and just sit down, shut up, find out what's going on, and be the resource that they need you to be. Or sit down, shut up, and find out how you can make them feel safe, right? And whatever they came from couldn't have been safe. Couldn't have been. Or else we wouldn't have this conversation now. Right? So, there's an important factor that we need to keep in mind there, right? Just because somebody leaves a domestic violence location, right, doesn't mean that they're safe. People who, and I say people because again, understand it's not just man to woman. Nah. It can be woman to man as well. Same sex orientation, all that. Domestic abusers don't particularly care about location. They care about the control, sometimes their own self-preservation from getting their business and their heinous acts exposed. So just because somebody leaves the house, the apartment, the workplace, the vehicles, try to find safety doesn't mean that safety is right there where they're going to. Because the abuser might try to take that abuse to wherever they are, right? So leaving is just that sounds like the right option. But that person knows that abuser is going to chase them wherever they go. Where do they go to? To the police station, to the hospital, to the best friend's house, to mama's house. You must not have seen somebody who has no regard, right? Doesn't care about consequences, right? They don't particularly care what they got to go through to get to that person. But that person that's going through that abuse is definitely believing that that person that is abusing them is going to follow them wherever they go, that there is no escape. And that's What do you do with that? What do you tell somebody that feels that they have no outlet? But more importantly, what do you tell somebody if you don't even know that they're going through it? We don't see the blinks. We don't understand why they're wearing long sleeves or turtlenecks all the time, and or real tight when you know they can't be hugged, and they don't like hand gestures or loud noises, right? Or they don't like confrontation or loud voices because it's real similar, and all they have to do is go back to what they're going through, right? That's their reference. That's their trigger. But because that's not how we're living, and we so high and mighty in our perfect world that we don't see it and think people are in our circle gonna go through that. It's not the case, man. 3-1, right? 3-1. We're talking about millions. So if it's 3-1 and it was 20 million men, what's that make for the women annually? And that's for the FBI and the CDC. That's their numbers. It's not me guessing, pulling a number out my behind. They say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. We'll go off those numbers then. And if it's 3-1, please utilize them numbers that was provided for somebody who might be in that situation. It ain't gotta be you. And that's cool. I'm glad that it's not. But if you have a situation that may look like something that looks like what we're talking about, pass some numbers on. We're going to get to section number 4. We're going to talk about how abuse doesn't look like abuse. We was just talking about that, right? So let's deal with another misconception. A lot of people think it's physical. Somebody got hit, right? Somebody had a bruise, a black eye, something happened to that person that we can actually see. Nah, that's not true. Abuse doesn't always leave a bruise. It's physical abuse, it's emotional, psychological abuse, things we've already talked about, right? There's financial control, there's isolation control. And isolation control could be the most damning one because it doesn't allow us to see everything else that's going on, right? So abusers, they'll beat somebody up, right? They'll beat their person up, and they'll keep them isolated until they're able to move normally, right? Or the bruising has gone down, or they figure out how to apply the makeup, or they come up with a good enough excuse, or they can't come up with any more but good excuses why that person is still isolated, right? Why they're in the house, why they're not going to work, or why they, not going over to Mom Duke's or to come out to see the homegirls, or not walking the dog, all that type stuff. And then when they feel that it's okay, they say, yo, you better not say nothing. Beat your ass again. Even worse this time. Police better not even come patrol our neighborhood. I'm going to think that you got something to do with it. Mental, emotional, all that bull crap. Right? All right, but there's something different going on, right? That's something different. And then what do you do with the people that are being sexually abused, right? Or those who are getting stalked, or just getting the verbal threats? You don't think that is debilitating? The stalking and the threats, right? If somebody's getting sexually abused and you've already allowed access, that's and I say access, I'm talking about proximity, not the act, right? But if we're gonna keep it man or woman in this particular case, walking down the street, walking through the mall, walking through the store, dude get up on you and Get to stalking and talking this talk, and now you feel threatened and can't nobody help you, right? He strategically waited till you out of sight, off a camera. Nobody's around. You didn't left your personal defense weapon inside your vehicle, right? He's claiming he just want to holler, just want to be friends. Then you finally get to your car and he get to his car. And all of a sudden y'all go in the same direction, ironically. He done got your tags in your mind, right? And you going straight, you looking in the mirror, he make a right. You're like, whew. Go down the street, a couple blocks later, he done made a left and another left and come back, make another right, now he behind you again. Man, you don't get out of here thinking this shit is sweet. That is, stalkers and predators don't have plans. That's not some type of abuse. Man, cut it out. And overdig again, man. This is just not a woman's conversation. Angela happens to be a woman. Episode 29 was her story. But domestic abuse is not gender specific. If you know a man who's gone through it, tell him to holler at me. If he doesn't mind telling his story, tell him to holler at me. If you want to have an unbiased, safe space, I promise you that, tell him to holler at me. But see, this is part of the issue, right? And I think we need to be willing to say it without somehow believing that we're talking some way out of the way for the female survivors, that men have issues with coming forward. Well, what are those issues, Eastwood? Y'all so tough, theoretically. But our pride, the embarrassment, the fear of being laughed at, being around your boys talking about, hey, you got beat up by a girl. You don't know what the situation is, that. Or that you a man. Suck it up. You can handle it. But if somebody's being abused, surviving is surviving, man. I don't care what you say. We ain't gotta agree. But surviving is surviving. Abuse is abuse. A lot of times, when it's in reverse from men to women, it's less physical, more emotional, more mental. Because a tongue can hit just as hard as a right. A tongue can cause damage a lot longer than a punch can. Because that tongue resonates within the soul and the minds. They got to think about what that person said, how they tore them down, all that. Sometimes I'd rather get into it. Let's rumble. You gotta talk me to death. But when you talking about domestic violence or somebody that's close to you, 9 times out of 10, it's not by book standards anything that was just plutonic. You got into an altercation, that's just assault. I'm talking about domestic violence being somebody that you're in a relationship with somehow, some way. When they get to talking about you, tearing you down, and you're like, damn, how can this person here talk about me like that? I thought we loved each other. Yeah, all right. All right. Let's see if I can get some comments cracking on here. What's going on with it? So, what's good with you, baby boy? K, I see you, man. My A1 day one. What's good, Shep? About to tighten up right here, man. We're going to get up out of here. Dang, I didn't realize you've been on this joint an hour already, man. My bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and tie this up. Like I said, man, I'd like to hear from you if not because we're looking for dramatic episodes, but if you're a man and you've gone through this, holler at me, right? But at the same time, At the same time, not every person who's gone through it has the same story. So I would love to hear somebody else's story, especially if it helps them out. Because at some point, towards the end of the Survivor Series, we're gonna have a panel of women who's gone through it, or people who have been abused, and this, see what kind of common denominators and what kind of resources they utilize, and how their survival is affecting them today. That's what we're gonna do. That's my goal anyway. It's not gonna be why didn't you leave and why was it so difficult and all that. Okay, Clip, I hear you, but what did I do? What do I do? That's what we're trying to get to. Clip can't tell you what to do. Clip can give you suggestions on what to do. He can give you some resources on where you should go, right? But you know what? I'm gonna tell you to save yourself every time, because if you're not here, then what good is it, right? Don't you try to evaluate or estimate the severity of what one person can do. That's not what we're on, right? So, Dag, man, if you know somebody who has gone through, is going through, please look in the numbers in the description. Holler at them. Save them from themselves sometimes. And I mean that in the highest regard, as to them not wanting to cause confrontation or conflict, thinking that they're saving themselves, or maybe even saving that person that's abusing them from the type of consequences that they deserve. Sometimes you gotta take your cape out your shirt, man. Sometimes minding your business can get somebody hurt or worse. So don't ask somebody why didn't they leave. Or don't blame somebody saying, oh, it's your fault because you stayed. Don't be that person. Ask yourself, what was the difficulty in leaving? And I'm glad you finally left. Let's take care of business. Episode 30, man. It's your man, Big Clip Eastwood. You're not alone. Again, the numbers in the description. Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C. They're all 24/7 numbers. They're all available for us. They all have an option of 911. It's not snitching when you say yourself. I'm Clip Eastwood, and I stand on that. This is mature authority. Appreciate you. Chime in. Please hit the comments. If you know somebody that's going through, there's one number I do want to pass on. It's a national domestic violence hotline. It is 1-800-799-SAFE. Nationally. 1-800-799-SAFE. 799-SAFE. Don't get no easier. Dag, it's your man Big Clip Eastwood, a.k.a. Mr. Gray Beards Matter. I'm the host of the Gray Beards Matter podcast. This is episode 30. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you tuning in. Feel free to go to YouTube or Spotify, preferably YouTube at first. Share, like, and subscribe. We're on our way to 100, man. We almost there, man. We're going to push for that. Next week, man, I really want to be at 100. We're going to have a couple giveaways if we do. Until then, y'all know what it is, man. It's a mature authority. Gray Beards Matter podcast. Don't you worry about nothing, and we out.